go. Let's go from here. View slideshow. Today I am making a video for college. This is going to be a comparison of two different pieces, one of which is from Cruelty Squad, and one is a poster from the Dada movement. Cruelty Squad, I'd like to just give like a short explanation of what Cruelty Squad is. It's just a tactical shooter game from 2021. I'm not going to be comparing the entire piece. I'll be comparing like a small portion of it, but I'll get a little bit more into that after we discuss the history of both Cruelty Squad and the Dada movement, so that you can better understand the context behind the pieces, and we can do a proper comparison and contrast between the two. So, without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 1, an extremely brief history of the Dada movement. As much as I would like to go into depth about the Dada movement and the many various different pieces and artist aspects that were created during its time, I'd rather not have the video be too long, so I'm going to skim and summarize sections of it just to save time so that this video is not super long. Alright. To start, Dadaism, or the Dada movement, was an avant-garde art movement which formed during the First World War and was quickly labeled the anti-art movement. The goal of the Dada movement was to break away and shed from traditional values and forms of art to explore new and abstract artworks in order to shy away from older pieces from before the war. This led to many new and chaotic pieces that made people who viewed the art often question both what counts as art and the minds of artists who performed and made said works. The Dada movement gained movement during the period after the First World War began, and it showed its effects on people by making them more nihilist, and their artworks became more absurd as an effect of the war. Dada artists set themselves up to be rebels of art during this time. They often challenged artworks, which inspired many other artists to do the same, creating the movement. Hugo Ball is one of the main artists of the Dada movement and is often credited with being the creator of the name for the movement. Dadaists strongly opposed the war and those that glorified the conflict while ignoring its terrible consequences. A main part of the works made during this time was also the uncertainty that the pieces would create. Artworks like ready-mades were common during this time. They were just like tools bought from stores that were presented as art. And this led to the idea of what the artist's intentions were behind the artwork to give meaning and making something into an art piece that way. The piece we'll be discussing today is by Kurt Schwitters and Theo van Doesburg. It is a lithographic poster made for a traveling tour, and the poster is called Klein Dada Soiree. I apologize if I did not say that correctly. Not very good at pronouncing stuff, but we're going to keep moving. Kurt Schwitters was a key figure in the German Dada movement. He explored various forms of media, including poetry and visual art, but became renowned as one of the leading collage and assemblage artists of the 20th century. For his own enjoyment, he created the term for his work, Merz, M-E-R-Z. Much of his work, along with the periodical he had posted in the 1920s under the same name, was categorized and titled under this label. During the winter of 1922, Schwitters and his associate Theo van Doesburg organized a Dada tour in the Netherlands featuring the now iconic poster Klein Dada Soiree, which they designed together. Theo van Doesburg is primarily recognized alongside Piet Mondrian as a founder and leader of the Dada Stige art movement. Desjardins emerged in 1917 in the Netherlands, advocating for horizontal and vertical geometric shaped forms. In 1921, Van Doesburg traveled to Berlin and Weimar, and the following year taught at Weimar Bauhaus. During this period, he developed an interest in Dada and collaborated with Kurt Schwartz, with whom he organized the Dada Tour, as well as Jean Arp, Tristan Tzara, and others. The poster features various black text on a white background with large words Dada written all over it. It also has various different icons, including hands and deer and hearts. It captures many of the features of artwork during this time, and the typography as well. It's very chaotic, very playful. Yeah. Now that I've gone over the brief summary of the history of the Dada movement, I'd like to continue on with the history of Cruelty Squad. Chapter 2, The Short History of Cruelty Squad. Cruelty Squad was created by artist Ville Kallio, an artist who has always been intrigued by comics, video games, and 3D works. Ville Kallio is a Finnish artist that has stated their art has felt like a black hole with no future and nothing more than a weird hobby. They made several works before the development of Cruelty Squad began, and were often displayed in notable museums in Finland. These works and ideas eventually blended together over the years into the idea and foundations of what Cruelty Squad would become. Cruelty Squad was developed on the Godot engine and later released in Steam in June 15th, 2021. Ville Kallio did basically all the music, all the artwork. They had the main, directing role in making all the work. So its unique style is thanks to them, alongside its music, which would help in making it stand out amongst games, and this would lead to its release being met with highly favorable reviews and high praise on its uniqueness and depth of gameplay. Because not only was it extremely unique in its genre, it also had rather complex gameplay that would allow for many different solutions to completing the goal of the game. Despite this, game being rather unappealing to look and listen to, you're currently listening to the soundtrack right now. It still was met with these glowing, positive reviews, which is good, I guess. The setting of Cruelty Squad is a dystopian corporocracy where governments possess overwhelming influence of police and government affairs. This is similar to RoboCop, if you remember that movie. It's pretty much that sort of like they have a major influence on many different aspects of the government and society. A difference is it's a little more like cyberpunk futuristic type of deal, because technology in this society has advanced to the point where death is not really an issue anymore. There's no consequence for dying. You just kind of get brought back after a short period of time. The gameplay can be simple at times, but does have a complex way of allowing the player to attack from different angles and come to the same solution in a different way. It also features a built-in timer, which allows for competitiveness amongst the community of people who continue to play the game to this day. Aside from community-held events and competition amongst speedrunners, Cruelty Squad hasn't received much in terms of updates. Mostly just a few bug fixes and achievements. Nothing much aside from that. Kellyo has stated that they're done with Cruelty Squad for now, and they'd like to focus on the development of their next game, Psycho Patrol R, which concludes the history of Cruelty Squad. Oh, I forgot to switch to this slide here. This is what the protagonist looks like. The left is a portrait from a different game that they collaborated with, but it's the best, most high detail portrait we have of the character. The model in the middle is what the character looks like in game, and the right is the Steam page art that was made, which also features an abstract version of the protagonist alongside the title of the game. This is the poem, which is what I would like to talk about for the comparison and contrast part of the Cruelty Squad. So now that we understand the history of both the works, we can properly compare them. And as I just stated, I'd like to focus on this one scene in particular, the third and final ending of the game. The ending of Cruelty Squad features a poem that is basically going over the events of the game partially, and also parts we didn't get to see, like our protagonist's backstory a little bit, and the destruction of the world as our protagonist destroys it through a. It's shown that through a metaphor, but I won't get into that. I'd like to talk about the visual nature of it, like how it's a pure white text with different sections of artwork on the sides and images in the middle with various different 3D models. It's very chaotic in nature, and it features different quotes from artists. And I'll be honest, when I first saw this ending, it really made zero sense to me. I did not understand why I was seeing this. The game doesn't really tell you a lot about it. It kind of goes by pretty fast. It doesn't really give you a chance to read it. So after slowing it down, I understood a little bit more of what it was trying to convey. And I feel like it pairs really well to compare to Klein Dada Soiree, which is this poster that we spoke about earlier, because both feature overlapping images or text. Both feature a sort of chaotic nature to it, rebellious nature in terms of being really against the sections of their time. Like this, for a poster, this would be considered bad by most standards, I feel like. I mean, aside from saying Dada quite a lot and having a real uniqueness to it, it doesn't convey that it's a tour, really. At least not that I can tell. I can't really speak German or read it, but they're both not really conveying their message super well, which I think is interesting to do in a game. It's interesting how chaotic and against the norm they are. They both share elements of anti-cruelty messaging. They both feature various different elements that you really wouldn't see in their genres. I think they both have a very interesting way of holding your attention as well, despite not really being well at what their goal of the goal of a poster or the goal of the ending is. So I think they both have a very rebellious nature to them, and if I had to talk about contrast, I mean, obviously, this one I think is a little bit more chaotic than the Cruelty Squad ending, because at least if you slow it down, you can read and understand what has happened. In this poster, I'm not sure if speaking German would really help much here. Mostly because there's so many different types of font, different sizes of the font. Some fonts are bold, some fonts are rotated, some fonts are upside down. Different images are cutting off in between fonts. Lines come in, underlining. It's so many different things. It kind of makes it hard to gather the information that's actually on there. And Cruelty Squad, to contrast that, has a very legible white on top of everything. There's no real bits of white in anything in the background, probably for that reason, so you can actually pause it and read it and understand. So I guess in that way, maybe you could say that the Dada poster is more rebellious in that nature. Both, I think, are great. But the Dada poster really captures the movement and elements of its time, and Cruelty Squad captures its own chaotic nature. It is a game that is extremely against looking traditionally good. It doesn't have the best graphics. It has like a PlayStation 1 style graphics. It's very meticulous in its way to make everything just rather unappealing. The music, even, which we're listening to at the moment, not very appealing, in my opinion. The graphics, for the most part, very unappealing, I would say. I've tried to have some of my friends play this game before, and they have declined to do so because, I mean, to their credit, just look at it. I mean, it's pretty. It's like it's harsh on the eyes. So I think they both do well in standing out by being so chaotic and so out of the norm. I enjoy both of these works. They both do their job well and convey a very rebellious nature. I feel like I've said that a lot. Anyways, to wrap this up, I thank you for spending the time to sit here and watch this video and listen to the Cruelty Squad music with me as I talk over a slideshow on Google Docs. If by chance I do upload this video on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment if you'd like to talk about either Cruelty Squad or the Dada movement. I will talk with you. Like, maybe I'll reply. I don't know. I'm not going to guarantee it, but thanks again to my teacher for giving me this assignment. I'd never really had an assignment where I had to make a video essay like this before, and this was kind of fun. So I'm going to end the video now. It's 9:25, so I got to go turn this in. Let me just